Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. How's it going out there, guys? Hope you had a nice break. I've scheduled so many videos, I'm sort of losing track of if I've actually mentioned you guys to have a good Christmas or not. But I'm going away for the first half of January. So Jan 2nd, I'm off to Joanna near Apollo Bay for a couple of days. And then for like a week after that, I'm going to Airlie Beach. So I'm sort of scrambling to just smash out a few videos. So I'll have quite a few being scheduled. So yeah, we're getting into these previews, but yeah, you'll be seeing quite a few videos, and a lot of them will just be scheduled over the next probably couple of weeks. But yeah, building up to New Year's Eve, so that'll be a bit of fun, and then yeah, be out of town for a couple of weeks, but we'll still keep those videos rolling through. So yeah, I also just wanted to plug the TikTok a little bit. I do quite a bit of content on here as well, some random stuff, as you can see there as well. But I mean, it's just so easy to upload on TikTok, and I know some people just prefer to take in their information in about 1 or 2 minutes. Other people prefer these, deeper dive type of videos. I myself prefer the deeper dive. I like to hear stuff discussed in a bit more detail, but I know these days, if 1 or 2 minute videos is you go, then feel free to pop over and check that out. But Brisbane Lions, now obviously, they were grand finalists. They'll be looking to go one step better. And often when you look at sides with that demographic, there's often quite a bit of hype and a few players looking to improve and that type of thing. But I didn't find a stack of SuperCoach options for the Lions. The main one was definitely Kitty Coleman. Now, he is in my team at the moment, as you would have seen a couple of days ago. He's at 398k, defensive option. And he's really showing great signs when he has been given the reins out of the back line. And I think with Daniel Rich retiring now, that's huge. We saw in the finals, we all remember his grand final performance was an outstanding first half. And him as a weighted kick, like he doesn't exactly pierce the ball to you like, like Bontempelli or Brendan Goddard sort of thing, but he'll just put it on a dime and beautifully weight the footy. He's a lovely kick. So we saw 2 finals where he went really, really well. And I know Daniel Rich didn't play a lot of this year and it didn't exactly translate, but that sort of happened mid-year. So sometimes it's hard to really change things midway through a year. And I think with a whole pre-season under the belt for Coleman, and I'd imagine the messaging will be, you're our guy, mate. You're the one that we want the footy in your hands coming out of the back line. And there have been snippets over the years. I'll try and find it where Daniel Rich didn't play, and he had some. There was a game against the Tigers, I reckon. It was around here, this 3-week patch. I wonder if I can still look at Daniel Rich's stats, the exact stats where he played and where he didn't. But yeah, it looks like I can. Let's go to 22, because we love a rebounding defender. We love the kickouts. Was this the year? Or was this it? What am I looking at? Rounds 16, 18 and 20. Looks like Rich played 16, but maybe he went down with an injury around 16. Yeah, so 32% time on ground. And then he missed 18 and he missed 20. And then we saw Coleman obviously take the reins in that game, ton up. And then he had a really good period. And then once round 21 and the rest of the year kicked off, Rich was back in business. So I know that's just a 3-game period, but there have been snippets elsewhere where we've seen it correlate nicely. And obviously we saw it at times late last year. And I'm not saying he's going to average, 110 like he scored in some of those games, but I just think it's about time. He's going to be about 24 by the time the ball bounces for round 1. He's in that 60-odd game mark. And I think if we just see any sort of thought that he is going to be the main guy from the back line taking kickouts for Brisbane, I really think it's worth the punt, because I can see him lifting that average to the early to mid-90s, and that'd be very, very handy for a bloke who is a touch under 400k. So we'd love your thoughts on him, because he's definitely the one I'm most excited about for Brisbane. Now, Robertson, I think he's around 250 250 something. Oh, I don't want to go to the NBL. Jesus, what am I doing here? He's one I haven't looked super deep into, and when I was just looking through potential names, I was like, okay, he's at a pretty good price. He's a mid-forward. 253. Now, obviously a bloke that, a bit like Coleman, we've sort of thought about as a real prospect for a long time. Big-bodied sort of midfielder, was drafted in that first pick of the second night of draft day in 2019, I think it was. And since then, it's always been like, okay, how can he find himself getting into that centre bounce? Oh, he's caught on a wing, or he just can't quite break into it. Will he go back to WA, or will he stay with the Lions? He's committed. Ashcroft goes down. And I just wonder, even Zorko's playing less and less time in the midfield. I just wonder, can he break in to that midfield? And let's have a look at the centre bounce stuff and how much time he did get in there and what would have to change for him to get more of that. And we don't need him to go bonkers. I mean, at 250k, you'd happily see him just get a bit more time in there, get a cemented spot, which he did do more of that this year. He obviously, since about, round 13, he was cemented in the side. It's really just about him finding that role, because from memory, he played a lot on a wing, and I doubt we're going to see a stack of centre bounce here. Yeah, and we're not. So there were occasional times, 27% was the most he got, and, that might be a handful of centre bounces. So across the year, there you go. Across the year, he got average of 9% and just 41 centre bounces. So it's not much. Now, what you really do see is a pretty consistent Brisbane lineup in that centre bounce. It's Dunkley and Neal almost exclusively, and you do see McCluggage in there quite a bit, which I'll talk about him in a moment. I'm a bit surprised by that, actually. And we did see Ashcroft a fair bit. So they were actually preferencing Ashcroft over McCluggage, or at least a bit of a split in there. And then when Ashcroft went down, McCluggage's numbers boosted up. But they're not really ones to change it up too much. They've sort of got Dunkley and Neal, and then they'll throw Bailey in there, or they'll throw Rayner in there, or someone like that to add a bit of speed on the footy. I doubt Robertson's going to get a stack of centre bounce time this year. It might improve, but the fact that Ashcroft going down probably didn't impact the next guy down. It was just McCluggage. So, to me, best case scenario, it's like he might get up around 30% consistently, which would be good. And hopefully what we're going to want to see more of is him maybe pushing into that stoppage from a throw-in or around the ground. It might not be in a centre bounce that we see him more. But he's certainly a talented guy, certainly one to keep on our radar. This is your classic, we're going to have to wait and see what happens through the pre-season. But he's certainly one to keep right on your radar at this stage of the year. And just finally, Hugh McCluggage, not really one for your SuperCoach Classic, but I didn't have too many lines in there, and I just wanted to mention him more as a draft sleeper. I feel like McCluggage belongs averaging in the hundreds, even if it's just the early hundreds. So to drop back 10 points from 22 to 23, and it was particularly the start of the season, which we did see outlined here, the real quiet periods, probably rounds 1 to 7, a couple of 90s in rounds 8 and 9, and that basically correlates with a lot less centre bounce because of Ashcroft. It's not... let's compare it to 2022, shall we? I would imagine if he's averaged 42% for the year, I'd imagine that was down. Down from 55%. And he definitely didn't have any of these greens where he was in there above 60%. It was pretty much... he was doing well to get over 50%. He had a little bit of time early, but... look, it's interesting. They obviously love his outside use and they like his ball use, and he played a cracker final. I can't remember which one it was. He was outstanding. The qualifying final, he was just dominant. And even his numbers with a couple of goals in the grand final reflect pretty good. I don't recall him being that good on the day, but who knows. But Yeah, so just one to keep in mind for your draft. I'm certainly not going to tell you to pick him in Classic. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But I do love my draft, so it's always just worth throwing that one in there and just seeing, you might be able to get a bloke who could average in the hundreds, a little bit down on what he did last year, but I think he'll be bouncing back. So one to keep in that little booklet for your draft, whenever that may be. So yeah, that'll be all for Brisbane. We'll be back with Carlton or Collingwood, depending how we go alphabetically. It'd be Carlton, wouldn't it? So we'll take a look at them and have a nice couple of days leading into the new year, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.